Welcome to Secrets of a Bridal Seamstress podcast, where we hear stories from fellow seamstresses just like you who are able to share their success stories. We learn from wedding industry pros for the best business tips, and we get to hear from fellow sewists and crafters to hopefully inspire our creativity and our love for sewing. I'm so glad that you're here. And if you're a bridal seamstress, I'd also like to invite you to check out our Bridal Seamstress business membership. We have a community of women that can testify to the power of genuine connection, friendship, vulnerability, the power of our six-figure seamstress method, and a genuine connection found in a business mentorship like this. All right, let's dive into the episode. Hey friends, welcome back to Secrets of Bridal Seamstress podcast, our Six-Figure Friday shorty episodes. And today's episode is actually about literally a Friday tip. So maybe you can't use it today, but you can think about it and put it into practice next Friday. And to be fair, you might not actually use it on a Friday. You just want to use it on whatever your weekly Friday is. Okay. So what I mean by that is I personally do not work weekends. Saturdays and Sundays are non-negotiables for me. And that started back when I was a middle school teacher. I loved weekends. I lived for the weekends. So when I started a business and I started offering fittings on Saturdays, I totally resented them. And I was like, listen, I don't have to do this anymore. I have one evening a week that I offer. And even that is it doesn't really fill up, and it only goes till 7, so it's not even that late of an evening. But that was a trade-off so that I wouldn't have weekends, and I love it. So this may not apply to you on a Friday, but just understand what I mean when I say Friday, okay? The tip of the week is to prep your future self on Friday before you leave your studio. So before you close your sewing studio door and go hang out with your family, or, before you drive away and your shop is in the rearview mirror where it belongs, I want to give you just a few things that you can do to straighten up and set yourself up for success on Monday morning. And I know that some of this, you don't want to do this. You just want to go home. You just want to eat and sit on the couch and be done. And so the thought of a few extra tasks sounds really annoying. And I get that, but this could be part of, I know we've been talking about atomic habits. This could just be a little habit that takes 15, 20 extra minutes before you close up shop. And then it gives you that peace of mind over the weekend or whatever your days off are. So you can truly have time off and not think about whatever's nagging you in the back of your mind. So I know sometimes on Sunday afternoons, I'll be thinking oh shoot, I got to get to the shop early because it's a mess and I have a bride coming Monday morning and I have to run the vacuum. Ew, those thoughts, they just ruin time off, So set yourself up for success. Take a few of these tips and I hope that they can be short little tasks for you, okay? The first one, okay, I'll admit it's not really a short task, but it's clearing your inbox, okay? So if you're kind of staying on top of your inbox throughout the week, this shouldn't be anything too crazy, but before you close up for the weekend, you want the satisfaction of knowing you're caught up. So you can have 48 hours away from the inbox and you can open it back up on Monday, whatever. But if it's clear, you don't have that response just nagging you, or, oh shoot, I have to order that applique set. That's what was on my mind last week. So ordering appliques. You don't have that on your mind. You just clear it out of your inbox and you're starting fresh on Monday, and whatever inquiries come in over the weekend, whether you have an automated workflow or not, at least Friday at 6, everything is caught up and nice and clean, okay? So that might take you a little more than 5 minutes, but if you're just staying on top of your inbox throughout the week or throughout the day, it should just take you 10, 15 minutes to make sure all those emails are caught up on, okay? The next one, run the vacuum. Oh yeah, this feels so good. Set up some nice vacuum lines before you leave work, okay? And then clean up whatever pins are underneath your sewing machine. I don't know what happens. I feel like I need to pay attention to actually how I'm sewing, because when I look under my sewing table, even after just a few days, I'm what am I doing? It looks like I'm throwing things on the ground intentionally. There's boning and beads and thread and needles and all kinds of stuff under there. And I'm what is... So that feels good to clean that up, to take the little attachment off the vacuum and just clean that up before you leave on Friday. So Monday morning, you're not coming into gobs of thread and just an icky workspace, right? Let's take it a step further. Just clean up the whole workspace. Okay, just you're vacuuming, just do the whole thing. Again, when this becomes your routine, it'll it won't take an hour. Your first week, it might take you an hour. If you're like, wow, I'm a slob. I don't know. But as you get into a routine with this, it can just be like your simple, like, clean out the workspace, wipe off your sewing machine, whatever it is, so that when you come back on Monday, it's like, oh, that Juki is waiting for you, or whatever you work with, right? And it's nice and tidy, and it feels good to walk into a cleaner space, right? I also love to prep my line for Monday. So as soon as I walk in the door on Monday, I know what dress I need to pull, or like what dress is my assistant's going to work on. Like that is all set up in advance so that like I'm not showing up on Monday like, okay, where's Alyssa's dress? Or, shuffling through. It's like, it's all set up for me because the goal is to make Monday or your first day back, whatever that day is, just easier on yourself. Okay, let's make it easy and fun and clean and organized. Okay, and it just takes a couple steps in advance so that your future self will feel more peaceful. And again, we've been talking about our overall wellness, so this is all playing into that as well. Okay, so you prepped your line, you ran the vacuum, you wiped down your surfaces, your work table's tidy enough, right? And then just give yourself a once over if you need to remember to like order anything for next week. So because your inbox is clear, you don't need to like send off an order, but just I have a cork board above my workstation. Just if you need to order something next week, have that be like written down and tacked somewhere where you'll see it so that you can place that order or make that phone call on Monday and you know what needs to be done and when. So basically, you're just doing like a once over. This is doable, right? One final thing. I know it's not exciting, but this is another thing that just feels good. Clean the bathroom. If you have a professional sewing space, just clean the toilet, do the sink, make sure that the toilet paper, you have enough TP for next week. Just do a little once over on the floors. Your future self, again, will thank you for it. And sometimes when I think about how many people use that bathroom, it's like, ooh, I want to make sure that it just is nice and clean. Okay. You know what I would actually love to do is have an episode all about cleaning your space and all of like the touch points that should be cleaned that we don't think about. Like your pedestal, if you use a pedestal, like that needs to be sanitized probably more often than you think. All those feet on that thing, right? So if you have extra time on Friday night, just do a little once over on your pedestal. But the goal of this is to just set yourself up for success and remove as much from your brain as you can before you drive away. So for some of you, it might be, okay, yeah, catching up on the emails or sending some quotes. Or I like to also, like when I set up my line, I'm looking at my to-do list. So I'm getting like a visual of the dresses before I leave for the day. Because sometimes when I'm at home and I'm like working through my schedule, I don't, I look at the inquiry photos, but I don't really remember what has to be done to the dress. And so then when I pull a dress and prep it on my line, I'm like, okay, I got to make those straps for her or make these sleeves or, add this slit. So it's going to take a little more time. So you kind of have like a nice blueprint for yourself, not just the dresses in order, but what work needs to be done for next week. And then you don't have to think about it over the weekend. So I know this is not like a novel idea. I didn't invent the thought of prepping for next week. But I know that this really helped me when I was teaching middle school, and it was something that I hated to do because at 2:32 on Fridays, once the bell rang, you better believe I was like out of the building before most kids were. Okay. I was so excited to leave. And I was in this habit of just like leaving my classroom a disaster. And then I would dread Mondays because it was like, okay, I think I have to email so-and-so back, or like, I have to prep this. And the Sunday scaries were definitely a thing. They're not really a thing for me now at all. But when I was teaching, yeah, 100%. So I would have this routine of emptying my inbox and I hated it. Like I did not want to sit in that chair longer than I absolutely had to, but I knew like clearing the inbox before I left for the week or for the weekend was going to feel so good. And then I just, checked all the kids' folders and, I Lysoled my desk and I Lysoled the piano and I prepped my whiteboard for Monday morning, like what the lesson plan was going to be. And so I could walk in on Monday and just have a little bit of that stress removed, right? So I hope that you don't have that same dread of Mondays that I did when I was teaching, and I know you don't have that because you love your job, but we can always make our lives a little bit easier by just doing a little bit more work now, like on this end of things, to make life easier for us just a couple days down the road. All right, I will see you next weekend. Let me know if you're going to include this in your Friday routine next week. I don't know, or what you would add to this list, or what you're like, oh yeah, you couldn't catch me checking my email before I leave on a Friday. I don't know. Let me know in the show comments what you think about this new little habit that you could add as a six-figure seamstress. All right, I'll see you guys next weekend.